Antony has scored an incredible goal for Manchester United against Manchester City. Manchester United have a goal back in the derby against Manchester City. Man City thumped Man United on Sunday at the Etihad by 6-3. Antony has scored an incredible goal to give United the smallest possible glimmer of hope. The Brazilian pulled off the wonder strike. Manchester United will be looking to make it 5 straight Premier League wins in a row as they travel to Manchester City in the Manchester Derby. United face City rivals in what promises to be a fantastic watch. The Manchester Derby has created many memorable moments over the years. The Red Devils come into this game having been handed some major boosts on the injury front. A number of players have been cleared to play. Harry Maguire misses out for United as he picked up an injury for England. Rodri is also sidelined for City ahead of the game. However, United attackers Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial have trained ahead of the game. Rashford passed a late fitness test ahead of the game. United are unlikely to make many if any changes. The back four would be most likely to remain as the one that remains unbeaten. City will pose a huge threat going forward, as will United. Today's game could have plenty of goals in it across the board. Erik ten Hag and Pep Guardiola will go head-to-head as managers in the derby for the first time against each other. Ten Hag will be looking to make history. Erik ten Hag has named an unchanged Premier League starting side to face Manchester City as he wants to show trust in his players that have been performing well. Manchester United return to Premier League action for the first time in 28 days on Sunday when they come up against neighbours City. Ten Hag's side are currently on a 4-game winning streak but have been unable to extend it for nearly a month after the league was postponed following the death of Queen Elizabeth II and the international break. Erik ten Hag paid the price for his Manchester United selection decision in Man City. Thrashing Erik ten Hag's game plan was so aggressive, it could have been mistaken for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Only he oversaw wins at the Etihad. Manchester United supporters briefly chanted, "If you go down to Man City, you'll buy one get one free," a reference to the apparent ease of obtaining tickets at the Etihad. Before halftime, it was the away section that was pockmarked by vacant seats. They missed another 5 goals. A helicopter overhead captured the early departures filing out of the away section like a colony of ants. They had already seen United shift 4 at the same ground this year, and United have conceded at least 4 in 8 games within the last year. How City fans would have loved the Etihad's sizable screen to have mirrored the broadcasters and displayed Sir Alex Ferguson's expression at 4-0. The stewing Scot sat motionless, possibly suffering flashbacks of the 5-1 and the 6-1. City surpassed the former and briefly emulated the latter scoreline. "We want 10," City fans chanted with 15 minutes remaining. For more than a decade they have chanted, "It should have been 10," and on this day it felt possible. The broadcasters homed in on Ferguson again at 6-1. Anthony Martial at least prevented a repeat of that scoreline with 2 goals. That United season is not defined by a derby as a reflection of how far they have fallen. Yesteryear, annihilation by City win was a seismic result. Now it is a near-annual occurrence. Tearing Cockneys apart again, crowed the City fans to Joy Division. United lacked substance until Antony scored stylishly, and the sight of Casemiro and Martial waiting in their kits on the touchline was an extra fillip. The trouble was it was already 4-1. It got worse. The City fans resurrected the Poznan, but the stadium did not roar as deafeningly as at Maine Road in 2002, or, doubtless for those present, in 1989. A 6-goal performance is almost an obligation for Pep Guardiola's Supreme City. Some lowlifes sullied the celebrations by mimicking airplanes next to the away section. For the second time this season alone, United skulked off 4-0 down at the interval. This was largely incomparable with the generational nadir of Brentford, such as City's superiority, but it will have alarmed those United supporters in the 3 tiers of the South Stand, how reminiscent their latest hiding was. What will smart for Erik ten Hag as City denuded United more effortlessly than in March, when mutiny was simmering under the interim charge of Ralf Rangnick. The start was so identical to that derby 7 months ago, City took only 3 more minutes to breach a porous United defense that survived for 8 fraught minutes. United's game plan was regressive, hinging on a breakaway or one of the 4 forwards creating something out of nothing. The starters did next to nothing. The irrepressible Erling Haaland did everything, plundering a 3rd hat-trick of his City career and chiding the United supporters who reminded him of his father's encounter with Roy Keane. It is already fair to place Haaland with Paul Gascoigne, Alan Shearer and Ronaldinho in the pantheon of greats that got away from United. So familiar was ten Hag's approach it was favored by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, only he oversaw 3 wins out of 3 at the Etihad. Marcus Rashford City's first goal stemmed from Jadon Sancho's sloppy dispossession, and Bruno Fernandes did not have to look far to berate him, as a celebrating Phil Foden eyed the crestfallen United fans. Ten Hag has to make significant changes in response to this, which threatened to be United's joint worst result in the Premier League era. City are responsible for 2 of those thrashings that neatly bookend the dominance of their neighbours over the last 11 years. The refusal to integrate Casemiro, a £70 million investment, 5-time Champions League winner and, most crucially, the sole defensive midfielder in the squad, has been perplexing and now costly. Scott McTominay heroically blocked a goal-bound effort during City's first onslaught, yet he is a stopgap rather than a specialist. Ten Hag had already become so irked by United's deep positioning, he stormed out of the technical area to order the defenders to push higher up. Raphael Varane was inside the 6-yard area when Foden connected. United's naivety was encapsulated by the second goal. City played on with Varane prone and nursing an apparent ankle injury, earned a corner. Varane had to depart the pitch after requiring treatment, and Haaland nodded in the game-killing second goal with his direct opponent a spectator. The dam burst with Varane's injury, and he was replaced at 3-0. Guardiola and Ten Hag were identical in almost every manner of their appearance on the touchline bar their communication. Ten Hag was largely stoical, though could not completely conceal his dismay, stuffing his hands into his pockets and shaking his head as he sought advice from his assistants. He admonished Tyrell Malaysia, who endured a more chastening first half at left back than Patrice Evra did on the same turf in 2006, during a stoppage at 3-0. Malaysia was alarmingly distant from Foden off the ball at kick-off and off the pace for his second and City's 4th goal. Like Evra, Malaysia was hooked at the pause, a different kind of enforced substitution. The atmosphere was edgier as kick-off, with Keane and Alfie Haaland a goal from apart pitchside. An overseas broadcaster unsuccessfully attempted to reunite the pair, and Haaland, also formerly of Leeds, did not utter United during an interview with a Swedish touchline reporter. Haaland, soaked by the sprinklers, swerved Keane and descended the steps to take his leather-padded seat in the hospitality section, where he celebrated his son's goals jubilantly. You'd buy a ticket to watch Haaland.
Thank you for watching. Please support us on subscribe, like, and comment below. See you on the next video.